Welcome everybody to the show. I got Matt from Solo Satoshi on here today. We're gonna get into the movement he's starting with the at-home Bitcoin miners. Matt, what's up, man? How we feeling?
Feeling great, man. Everything's good. Solo Satoshi's killing it, and we're having fun.
Well, that's the most important part, man. You're having fun. You're making a huge impact. That's majority of what we're going to talk about today is Solo Satoshi. Um, Real quick, you can give everybody the short and skinny. For those who don't know, I'm pretty sure everybody's heard at this point, but just what you guys are doing over at Solo Satoshi, and then also I want to know like your background. Why did what made you feel like you could do this? Because you're doing an incredible job at it. So let's kind of start there.
Yeah, thank you. So Solo Satoshi is a BitX retailer, and we don't actually manufacture the devices, but Solo Satoshi was born in a period where not that many people really believed in the BitX project. There was a very small community of people, like super OG members, who contributed to the project and contributed to its success. But we were one of the first groups of people who really came to the BitX project and really started broadcasting it over X. So my background is I'm a high voltage technician by trade, and just through doing electrical stuff and being in Bitcoin, I really took the deep dive into Bitcoin around like 2020. My whole life the financial system really didn't make a lot of sense. I tried to trade stocks, I tried to do a bunch of things to get ahead, but Bitcoin really intrigued me, and I picked up some books just like everyone else, and I started reading. And the more and more I read about it, I got hooked. So through learning about Bitcoin and being in Bitcoin and holding, I always wanted to get into Bitcoin mining because it's a side of Bitcoin that you always, you kind of read about it, but there's always really short paragraphs about Bitcoin mining. No one really goes into deep technical details. Well, I got the feeling one day that, if Bitcoin really caught on, that the government wouldn't adopt it, which is weird because they kind of are today
Well,
looking
they're
looking at it.
saying they are right. There's rightful skepticism there, but
Right.
yeah. No, I get what you're saying for sure. Go ahead,
Yeah.
continue.
I thought that if the government were to ever ban it or try and, damage it in any kind of way, what kind of pain they could inflict on people who wanted to acquire it. And, just being in Bitcoin and reading about it, that you can get it through mining. So I always wanted to set up a mining operation to try and acquire Bitcoin. It's no KYC. You're literally just turning energy into Bitcoin.
Yep.
Well, I looked into the large ASIC machines. I mean, at the time they were, you know, high, almost $10,000 each.
I
All
remember that
the
around like 2020, 2021. Yep. I had the same
yeah,
thought. Yep.
all the all the upgrades I would have had to have done to my home. Upgrade the main breaker, take an outage from the utility company, just all of this stuff to get a little bit of Bitcoin. When in hindsight, looking back, it wouldn't have been a wise decision because Bitcoin mining is just very unprofitable right now at a residential level. Unless you have some sort of access to super cheap energy. So, scrolling the internet one day, come across this project named BitX. I didn't know like what the hell it was, right? So, I started reading about it. I started reading that it was open source, and it really intrigued me. It really caught my attention because it's so small. It has such a tiny form factor. Well, I ordered my first one. I paid like $350 for it at the time. They were really, really expensive. and I plugged it into the wall, and I was mining Bitcoin in like 10 minutes,
Wow.
in 5 or 10 minutes just from setting it up. And while I knew that my chances weren't the greatest, because it's literally my single ASIC chip up against every single ASIC chip on the network, it still gave me a feeling of empowerment that you can mine Bitcoin at home again. And that is basically where Solo Satoshi began. I told one of my coworkers about it named Hunter, and we both ordered more, and we literally Solo Satoshi was born like not too far after that. And fast forward, we just crossed our 10,000th BitX sold,
Let's
and
go.
it's been an absolute crazy ride, man. It's
So
been
you guys
wild.
are so you guys are retail like you guys are retailing the BitX right now. Um, I love what you said about the feeling of empowerment that came with it because I know for a fact there's a ton of Bitcoiners and we're seeing it right now. You just sold 10,000 of them, right? There's a ton of people that are like, man, I want to get into mining, if for nothing else, to help decentralize and, secure the network. You know what I mean? And that was the reason that I bought one. As soon as you guys dropped the BitX, the Blockstream Jade with that looks almost like an alarm clock.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
for me, it was like, oh, dude, I got to get my hands on this. I'm like $300. Like, you could go out and spend $300 on betting on football games or a lottery ticket. And for me, it was like this cool novelty where it's like it's just sitting at my place right now, running nonstop, and you don't notice a difference in the electric bill. And I'm just doing my part, and I think everybody should have a home miner and also run a node, and for me, that's what I saw from it was just this, not everybody's going to have the $10,000 to go and get an ASIC, right? And
Right.
and so that's super cool, man. I love that aspect of it. Do you guys plan on developing your own like hardware at some point for home miners?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think that's what it kind of comes down to. You know, um, Obviously our first year, we just made 50. We just made a year like a week ago, and it's been like the craziest 1 year ride ever. Probably didn't expect in a million years for it to pick up this fast and for things to be this crazy this fast. And we're although we're really thankful for it, we start to fall into the situation where we don't have like a lot of time to do things because we're just three people. So it's me, Hunter, and his wife Kelsey, and we basically run everything ourselves. We're self-funded. We haven't taken any money from anyone. Me and Hunter's been in the high voltage electrical field our whole lives, so basically all the money we had saved up, we just kind of dumped it into the business just to get it started, and it's been doing really well. But I think there's some things on the book, to try and develop different devices. And of course, we still want to, stay true and stay loyal to BitAxe. But I think there's a bunch of different ways we can contribute, even if it's not making our own devices. I think we can get behind developers, make sure developers have funding. That way they can continue to create like really awesome projects. Manufacturers can continue to create them, and we can continue to distribute them.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. So what I guess two questions here. What was the reason that in your opinion the BitX didn't get popular right away? Like was it just like they just needed better marketing for it? They needed more people to know about it? And then the second question was uh what was it? Sorry man, it's a live show. I run into this sometimes. Um, you mentioned the other. So two things. It's the one. It's the first thing is why did BitX not kind of do what you thought it was going to do, and then the second thing was, are you guys like still full time working while you're doing this?
Yeah, so yeah, we are still full-time working. Me and Hunter are. Hunter's wife Kelsey actually quit to like manage operations and do like a lot of the day-to-day stuff. I will say it's getting really hard to do now. Now that the business is starting to grow and really take off, we're coming across a lot of opportunities. A lot of people want to collaborate. A lot of people want to do different things with us. Everyone wants us to make events. It's really hard to do that when you have a job at the same time. But I feel like I'm literally like a hair away from quitting, man. I'm like one bad day away from
Yeah.
maybe like spilling a cup of coffee and just walking out and going, you know what, I'll figure it out. But I think the time is coming to make the jump soon. And that'll be one of the best days of my life, man, because I just want to give my all to Bitcoin. And number one, there's nothing better than working for yourself. And number two, there's just nothing better than working in Bitcoin. It's the
Yep.
craziest industry ever. Bitcoin mining is one of the most competitive industries that you can be in, because it's really competitive. Everyone is looking to be top dog, and you have to have time, energy, and effort to put into it. If not, you can really start falling behind. So there's not a lot of time. We get rest, we get maybe a couple hours a night, but we just keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. And the first question too, which was the what happened? Like, what was your opinion of BitX? Like, why did the project not get off the ground?
I think it was just super expensive, man. I think it was super expensive. I think it was sold as a novelty instead of being sold as an open source technology, like a revolutionary technology. Because for a while, Bitcoin mining at home really wasn't possible. I mean, they had USB miners and like little small devices that could teach you the principles behind mining, and you can get your hands kind of dirty with mining. But there wasn't ever anything to actually give you a real chance. And I was very frustrated to pay, $350 after taxes, shipping, probably close to $400. And when this thing arrived at my house, it was literally smaller than an iPhone, and I'm like, this is way too much for this. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So I did some digging. I wanted to get, like, the thing about BitX is when you run one, for some reason you just want like 10 more because
Yeah.
they're so cool, they're so easy to run, and it's easier to scale up, you know, $150 at a time rather than go out and drop 10 grand on a big industrial unit, right? So it's almost like graphics cards. You could just keep scaling them up, however much power you want. Well, through trying to find like a good wholesale deal, I ended up finding someone who was making them. And when I inquired about the price, I was surprised that the people who were in the market on the retail side were literally selling these things for like three times what they were paying. And so that kind of frustrated me even more. And I thought about it. I said, I could do this. I believe in Bitcoin ethos of decentralization. And I was like, even if I don't make much money, or, even if I'm not successful at this, hell, I'll just run them myself. So I ended up getting like a little cardboard box of 25. And I remember I would just sit at my laptop every day, and just pitch them on Twitter to like all the hardcore Bitcoiners I would follow. And I just started marketing and started getting the word out there. And I mean, there was a time where we were undercutting those guys by like $100 a device, and it got our name out there. We started really prioritizing customer service and technical support and taking care of people, because another thing at the time were people were just selling them and not doing anything on the back end, right? Like, it was like a novelty. You get it, you plug it in, it doesn't work, like whatever. Well, Solo Satoshi really changed the game when we come in and started offering like top tier customer support and technical service. We've built a lot of guides on how to update firmware, how to set your device up. I feel like those things really resonated with people. And instead of building a customer base, we've built a community over the past year. And we are so grateful for those people. I feel like they love us and we love them equally. and our community is really great. What we've built over the last year is fantastic. We're very proud of it.
No, it's awesome, dude. And I would say too, it seems like from what you're saying, the other people were in it as a like hobbyists almost, right? Like let's mark this up, but just because we know where the source is, and then send it to people, and then they can fuck off. You know what I mean? And it seems like you guys were really like, hey, not only are we going to charge less, but we're going to provide like a white glove service for you. You know what I mean? And we're going to show you actually how it works. And dude, it has resonated. I mean, we found each other through the X, slash Twitter community, and you can see all the buzz that's going on about you guys. What's the do you guys think that at some point you will partner with somebody who's maybe got a little bit more funding to help scale, or do you at this point do you have to give away too much creative control to do that?
It's hard, man. I can't lie and say we don't ever think about it, because I think everyone that runs a business, I think they think at some point that they need more funding, but there's also something to be said about being able to say whatever you want to say. Like I can, within reason, without destroying my reputation and all of our
Yeah,
following, um, I can get on and say whatever I want to say. I'm not tied down to, any of these NFT projects or,
yeah,
crypto coins or anything like that. We have no VC money, so we have no one trying to guide us in any direction away from what we morally believe that is right. And that's that Bitcoin mining should be open source and available to the people. I will say, as the landscape gets more competitive and more people come in and start to do kind of the same things we're doing, um, there are times we wish we had more money. There are times we wish we had more capital to invest. But also, we know that Bitcoin is a wild ride. The price is up, the price is down. And also, if you over leverage, right, you can find yourself in a really bad position. So, we've been growing slow but steady. I say slow, but it seems like it's just a rocket ship for the past
yeah, dude. I
52
mean,
weeks.
ten
It's
thousand
been
in a
wild.
year is incredible. I'm glad I had you on like right around the year anniversary too. That's pretty cool. Um,
Yeah.
So you actually you're talking about your voice on Twitter. That's a perfect segue because I saw a tweet from you the other day, and I want to bring it up on here and get the context behind it. It was something along the lines of I don't have it pulled up right now. It was something along the lines of the big mining companies coming at you guys, and I don't know if it was Solo Satoshi specifically or just at home miners in general. What made you feel that way? What was the catalyst for kind of that tweet?
No, so this is kind of a crazy topic to talk about, but I'll shed a little light on it. Um, you know, being so early to a space, you have incredible amounts of potential to collaborate with people and build incredible things and make a lot of things happen, right? And me and my team at Solo Satoshi are very, very passionate about what we do. There's a lot of people building a lot of cool things, and there's a lot of bigger players that are coming into the space that are also starting to build cool things. Well, there's like a there's this thing, in business that just happens behind the scenes where it's really vicious behind the scenes. A lot of people just want the market for themselves,
Yep.
and they'll do whatever is necessary to get their share of, the market. And if that means doing something dirty to us when we just try to be like we believe in open source, right? So we believe in open honesty and transparency. That's what open source is, right? Like you have all the blueprints, you have all the transparency. Now let's get together and let's work and let's make something really cool, right?
Yep.
So that's how I carry myself when I go to a business meeting, when I meet a potential partner where we want to collaborate on a really cool project. And being so open, honest, and transparent has bitten me quite a few times in this industry. And, you know, I know that people are watching things I tweet, and I didn't think this question would come up, but it's frustrating sometimes when people take your transparency and your honesty and use it against
Almost
you.
try to
And
weaponize it.
you're right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. And the thing is, what really inspired that was we were working hard on a project with a group of people, over the past, I don't know, 4 months, 3 months, something like that. And you know, we aren't builders, like we don't build any hardware, and we're not coders. We don't build any firmware either. But one thing we do have is a voice, and we have a community, and we have a direction, which we think, like, we know where we want to go, right?
Yep.
So when I go into those meetings and when I talk to people and collaborate with people, I'm really enthusiastic, and I literally tell them everything that's on my brain. Well, just right around the time this project was getting released, we basically got told, like, go fuck yourself. We're gonna do this without you.
Got
And
it. Got it.
all this all this time worked, for the past 4 months, and it was for nothing, basically. I don't want to say nothing, because in the end, like, people are gonna get a super cool project, but, like, these are the things that people don't know behind the scenes that we deal with, right? And
Yeah.
I
Well,
think it's just business in general, but
well,
I
you
just
you probably expect less of it from the Bitcoin community because of the general ethos, but obviously there's bad actors and everything. So essentially, you guys were working with them for 4 months, gave them all the insider secrets, and then they took all your insider secrets and said "fuck you," and now are releasing it on their own.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like insider secrets. I just feel like we had a lot of valuable information. Like, we seen this project go from version 1 to, like, version 3, and we gave a lot of input. We did, a lot of troubleshooting with customers for their devices, and we were constantly giving all that data, all that feedback for them to gradually improve, just at the last minute, just to say, like, see you later,
Yeah.
and I feel like those things, those some of this stuff's done with the intent of, like, trying to hurt us,
Yeah.
and there's kind of, like, everyone's really competitive right now in the space, and they're willing to step on top of you on at any chance they get, sometimes. And it's really unfortunate, because if we just work together for a common cause, then we can defeat, like, the really big guys that will eventually be coming into the space, because the stuff we're seeing right now is nothing. It's my honest belief that, we'll see Bitmain make a small miner.
Yep.
We'll see every large manufacturer come down to the home level and act like they've always been here and always been for the people, when that's just not the case.
Now
And
it's the
that's why,
Yeah, now it's the trendy thing to do. So that's why they try to
right.
do it. Yep.
And that's the beautiful thing about not having anyone else in my pocket, and me not being in anyone else's pocket, is that we can say what we want to say. We could say those things, because those people, they can't do anything to hurt us. I feel like the community already knows a lot of this stuff, but we just do our own thing.
I mean, dude, I loved the tweet. That's why I brought it up, was because I wanted to hear your, first point of view on, obviously you can't go into specifics, but I appreciate you providing kind of the context on that. And dude, it's important to know, right? Like, when you go on Twitter and you say something like that, it's important for people to kind of know what's going on behind the scenes, like we had the whole Bitcoin core versus knots debate, that came on Twitter over the last few weeks. And I think it finally just got settled today. And I'm very open about this. Like, my technicality is not my skill set. You know what I mean? I'm not a developer. So, I'm getting bits and pieces from each side. But it's important for those forums and, like, things like that to be brought online to social media so people can weigh in and have an opinion, because that's the beautiful thing about Bitcoin, right? Is consensus is all the node runners, right? All the people that
Yeah.
have a stake in this thing. So if you run a node, you have a fucking opinion. You don't have to be a developer to have an opinion on something. And I
Yeah.
think so. I appreciate the context on all of that. Let's kind of switch gears a little bit. What's been the most rewarding thing so far as like feedback from the community that you've gotten?
The most rewarding thing so far is seeing the thousands of pictures on, on various social media platforms of people mining with bitaxes, and this whole wave that started from just this, this little bitty device. And I feel like, that our team has had like a big hand in that. I feel like we've done like all the right things to get it out there and get it into people's hands. And that's really the most rewarding thing at the end of the day, is seeing people mine Bitcoin at home again. It's been something that's been inaccessible for, a pretty long time. When ASICs took over, it quickly got into the hands of large industrial miners. And to see everyone back at home, like every bitaxe plugged in is like a middle finger up to the large system, right?
Yep.
And I think a lot of people take it for a joke at face value, which is, I feel like, another reason why BitX really didn't blow up. I mean, if you think about it, BitX really blew up when it found its first block. Like, yeah, we were making some sales, and like we were mostly having to pitch it really hard. Well, after BitX found its first block, it just kind of, the block
Yeah.
event is it sells itself. That's its own best advertising, really.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, dude. I had a feeling it was something along those lines. Dude, I was fired up, man. It was like a week after I got my miner, and I'm on I was playing golf, and I'm on Twitter. I'm playing with a buddy of mine who's not, in anywhere near into Bitcoin as much as I am. And I see that a BitX miner hit, and it's like 3 days after I plugged mine in. And I was like, dude, there's a chance like I go home. There's a small chance that I go home and I have a full, whatever it is, 3.25 Bitcoin on my miner. And that, dude, that even that is like, it's fun to me, dude. It's like every time I see a bitaxe hit, I'm like, oh shit, like I got to get home and check and make sure it wasn't me, or see if it was me rather. Um,
Exactly.
no, I love it. So the other thing that I was going to say too, what's the, you obviously been in business for a year. What's the biggest lesson that you've kind of taken from starting all this so far?
Um, I think the biggest lesson is to just be quiet sometimes. While it's good that we can be outspoken, it's definitely better sometimes to just be quiet. You don't always have to talk in every situation. You don't always have to say everything that you know. Just listen, pay attention, and learn as much as you can. I think business has really just taught me a lot of things. I mean, to be a business owner, you have to be an accountant, you have to be a tax person, you have to be a web developer, a graphics designer, a videographer. You have to learn how to do stuff on the back end of your website. It's endless amounts of things. I mean, the past 52 weeks has taught me so many things. I think it's taught me how to work even harder
Yeah.
at the end, you know?
Yeah, I would imagine organization is probably a pretty important thing when you're operating at the velocity you guys are operating at. How do you guys
Oh, yeah.
so how do you guys manage the um, customer service requests and orders? Like, is it's just like one of you guys sees it come in and you're just like, fuck it, I guess I'll take it, or do you have like a hierarchy for that at this point?
No, we just take them as they come in, man. We have a ticket system, and it's worked wonders. It helps us stay really organized and be able to prioritize people by the problems they're having. I mean, we deal with everything from lost packages to someone just not knowing how to set up their device. So we take a lot of pride in trying to answer really fast. Although the more business picks up, like we're constantly juggling like 5,000 things at one time. But yeah, we just pick them up as they come in. It's really just me and Hunter. Kelsey chimes in like every once in a while and helps out like on the customer service side if someone is asking about like their package, hey, where's my package or
Yeah.
something like that. So it's definitely a team effort. It's really a team effort.
Yeah, I mean it's incredible with three people what you guys are doing. What's the plan for the future? Like, have you guys thought about bringing on somebody from the outside sooner rather than later, or is it just not ready for that point yet?
Yeah, so we're about ready to start hiring. We already have someone in our scope. We're trying to get them on the team. That's kind of another thing. Like you have to like learn the whole hiring process and stuff too, right? So there's so many different avenues, so many different like legal things and things you can do, things you can't do. Again, it's just running a business is one of the hardest things I've ever done, and my whole life I've messed with electricity that could kill me. So it's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
No, that's awesome, man. Well, congrats on getting ready to take that next step. Last thing that I want to ask you is what's the plan for the future? I mean, I know you said you're already going to be, maybe potentially looking at doing some hardware stuff. Do you guys have any like targets for this year of how many of these things you want to sell or?
Yeah, so hopefully we can keep doubling, right? I think like trying to do a constant 2x each year is sustainable and manageable. Obviously, there's a lot of things we have to figure out, right? There's scaling, there's um, hiring. There's a bunch of different things, and there's always new stuff that's coming out too. So definitely be on the lookout. In 2 days, there's something absolutely crazy dropping that I can't talk about until it drops.
All right.
But
Well,
there's always
hold on for everybody listening. We're recording this on May 12th. It should be out tomorrow, May 13th. So it'll be one
it'll
day.
be
May
it'll be
14th.
May 14th. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
May
Good.
14th.
Um, Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Um, it's the future is, the sky is the limit. We could take this thing 40 different ways, but what we want to do is support open source and continue to support the developers, continue to support the foundations that are supporting the developers as well, and really try to stay true to who we've always been and just get hash rate across the globe.
Yep. That's awesome. How many different countries are you guys shipping to right now?
We ship everywhere except Russia, North Korea, Ukraine for some reason, and I think that's about it. That's
Got
the
it.
three places that we can't ship. We
It's
ship
probably
everywhere
it's
else.
people that are under sanctions, I would imagine, where you can't ship.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Well, dude, I'll open it up to you. I don't have any more questions. Anything we didn't touch on that you wanted to go over, or anything you want to leave everybody with?
Yeah, I think for anyone listening, I just want you to know it's very important where you spend your hard-earned money at. You can give your money over to corporations who are already successful in the Bitcoin mining world in the large sector that are trying to come over to the small sector, or you can support small businesses with, honest people that are trying to do the right thing, which you should also be supporting the developers and the people that are behind this project. Open Source Miners United is the community that continuously builds on top of all these open source projects. And now there's a foundation called the 256 Foundation, which is, Scott, the instigator of BitX. He's a large part of that. Rod with Bitcoin Park is a big part of that. These guys have set out on a mission to dismantle the proprietary mining empire, because Bitcoin mining has always been a secret until BitX was founded, until it was created. And it's very important that we crack open how miners work, how we can get them to do what we need them to do. That way we can make more use cases for miners that to mine in your home. Because in the future we may see, we could see dryers that use Bitcoin miners. We could see hot water heaters that use Bitcoin miners. We could see 100 different use cases to use Bitcoin miners. But as long as the firmware and the hardware are proprietary and closed source, we will never see those things. So keep supporting the developers and keep supporting the foundations, and your money will definitely make an impact. We also donate back to those foundations and developers as well. So your money spent with us goes back, it goes full circle.
That's awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on, dude. Everybody listening, check out Matt on Twitter. His Twitter handle is going to be in here. We'll post the the website link for Solo Satoshi. Dude, this was a blast, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
You got it, brother. Thanks everybody for listening. Talk soon.